All right now.
Patrick Mahomes is basically God playing quarterback.
Chiefs Kingdom
live.
They want it. They wanted it.
And when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper. Go get it.
That's a different cheer right there, baby.
Yeah, we're not having a snowball fight.
Three. No one's ever got three. I want that to back.
The Lombardi Trophy has a red and gold reflection. Touchdown! Kansas City! One of the greatest duos in the history of the National Football League. Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce.
Let's go!
Do it live! You gotta fight for your right to party!
It'll get handled when it gets handled.
Let's go!
Howdy, Chiefs Kingdom. It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's Chiefs Kingdom Live. Thank you so much for joining us. Real quick, if you wouldn't mind, before you forget, make sure you click and tap that like and click and tap that subscribe button. Maybe tell some friends, tell some family members, tell some Chiefs fans. Help spread the word. We'd sure appreciate it. We got a good show tonight. It is Super Bowl week, Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. The Big Izzy. Chiefs are going for the three-peat. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about this Eagles matchup. We're going to talk about keys to the game. We're going to take your questions, whatever you want to talk about. Make sure you throw something, a comment or a question there in the chat. Looking like the chat's filling up here with Maria and Carol and Big Doug. I'm sure Laney's probably in there somewhere. I think I saw Kevin hanging out before the show started.
Right,
Good to
Tez,
see you
up?
all.
Thank you for joining us.
What's up?
Before we get into it, fellas, how are we doing tonight? Bo, looks like you're in a new spot there.
New venue, right? Living that nomadic life. Made it to Salt Lake City. Doing good, man. We're 4 days, 4 quarters away from a three-peat shot. I'm doing excellent. I'm pumped for this game. Nick, how are you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Oh, just blink twice if you need help if you're trapped in an Eagles fan's basement. All right. Look, I'm starting to think that maybe simulation theory, there's something to that because the Chiefs are one win away from a three-peat, which I never thought was something I was going to say in my lifetime. So I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you doing, Scotty?
Doing real well. Just ready for this game, man. So excited. You know, you got that week off right in between the championship game and the Super Bowl. And last weekend, you know, stress-free, no football. And then Monday and Tuesday, you start seeing like the videos of the planes landing in New Orleans. And I was getting flashbacks to last year with the planes landing in Las Vegas. And then I was getting flashbacks to the planes landing in Phoenix. And I was just like, is this like, you're talking about simulation theory, man? Like, is this real life? Like every year the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl now? It's crazy, man. But I'm excited. I'm ready for this game. I'm doing real well. It's cold weather can kick rocks, but that means it's Super Bowl time. It's the month of February, so
It's February, yep.
we're in it. Let's just get into the Super Bowl preview, man. Just before we start talking about maybe players, keys to watch, matchups, what we think about the Eagles, like just how are overall thoughts? I'd like to see what the chat has to say. Confidence level going into this game, Nick.
Yeah, I feel more, I don't know, confident going into this game than I did going into the Bills game, to be honest. I felt like the Bills were kind of that team where, and especially because it's like, I mean, we're not going to beat the Bills 4 times in 5 years in the playoff, right? So I think there's a little bit of that. I think that with some of the things that are being said about the Chiefs, and maybe some things that some troll journalists were saying to the players, and based on what Travis Kelce said when he said, "What would you ask the media?" I think this team is ready to make a statement, and they are ready to put the hammer down, as Mitch Holthus would say.
Yeah, no, that was pretty funny. Clown fest. Someone just, I mean, I guess, you know, if it costs you for some notoriety is your dignity and your self-respect, I don't know if that's a fair trade-off or not, but, Yeah, I saw that clown. Travis Kelce shut him down. Patrick was like the ultimate professional, right? I kind of like just ignored him without ignoring him. But Bo, what's your confidence level? How you feeling about this game, man?
Dude, I remember I feel eerily similar going into the last time we played the Eagles for the Super Bowl, but I do feel a little bit more confident, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's just because the Eagles were just such a dominant team 2 years ago, right? They were the talk of the town. It'd be like if we were playing the Lions this year, I'd be like, ooh, man,
Yeah.
who are we going up against? But like right now, I just feel really good, man. They have some like really key injuries we'll get into that might really help us defensively. I'm really stoked on like how healthy our team is. I think going into this game, it should
Yeah.
be us hands down. I don't know the 1.5 point betting differential is accurate. I feel like it should be at least 3, man. I'm feeling really good about this game.
Yeah, me too. I think the Chiefs playing a lot of close games is probably feeding into that betting line.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Yeah, no, I feel as confident in this game as I've felt in any of the previous Super Bowls. This Eagles team, I don't know. The gauntlet is in the AFC, right, and the quarterbacks, and so
Really feels like that, yeah.
You know, you keep hearing this. Oh, the Chiefs have the best player, but the Eagles have the best roster, and I'm like, do they? I don't. There's position groups where I guess you could say maybe the Eagles are more talented, but I mean, if you stripped the names and logos off the jerseys and the helmets, and you were picking a team, right? Like you could put your team's logo on any team's uniform. You're gonna pick a team other than the Chiefs. Like I don't know. Maybe that's just because Patrick Mahomes, to me, is if you want to say overall the rest of the Eagles roster is better than the Chiefs, I'd let you make that argument. But I think the gap between Patrick Mahomes and all the other quarterbacks is so much like wider. Then that makes your roster better than the other team. If that makes sense. So. Yeah, no, I feel really good, man. Confidence level is like a 9 out of 10. Obviously, is it a guarantee? No, you're playing in the Super Bowl, right? You could always lose the Super Bowl, right? I mean, it's a one-off thing. It's not like it's a 7-game series, but I just feel like this Chiefs team playing in the AFC, going through that championship game against the Bills. This team's like battle tested, ready to go, and just they know they can do it, right? They know they can win the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, they feel like they can win the Super Bowl, and they think they can win the Super Bowl, but they don't know they can win the Super Bowl because they haven't done it. Not like the Bills beating the Chiefs in the playoffs, right? Like going into that championship game, the Chiefs know they can beat the Bills. The Bills, they're thinking and hoping and wishing that they can win.
This might be the day, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like Chris Jones on the sideline, right? It's like, this ain't nothing we ain't done before. We've been here. This ain't nothing we ain't done before. This is something the Chiefs have done before. There's nothing new to this team winning the Super Bowl. So, yeah, man, feeling really, really good.
Race car,
Race cars and Hess, good to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Oh, shout out to Freddie too. Saw the comment at the top of the show.
What's up, yeah, got to give Freddie his shout out.
Grandpa Fred.
There's Laney checking in. Good to see you, Laney. What do we think? Bo, you talked about like how you felt the last time I played this Eagles team. Do you feel like this version of the Eagles is better than the version we played 2 years ago, or do you think they're about even? I mean, what's your take on this Eagles squad versus the last time we played them?
It's hard to say, man. They almost feel like the same a little bit. They made some really good moves, like acquiring Saquon Barkley and then like replacing Jason Kelce with another awesome center. But they just don't seem as. I mean, they were dominant. Like I don't know what they go 13-3 this year or something like that. Like they were a dominant team, but it just didn't seem like they were the talk of the town all season. Right? No. Last year or 2 years ago, all you heard was how unstoppable the tush push was. Right. Jalen Hurts on the scramble. You got Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. Right? Like you just have these top tier guys, but it almost kind of feels like it's the same team. Until you mentioned Saquon Barkley, right? That's just kind of like the X factor in this game. I know we're going to get into it way more, but I really don't feel like we're facing that much of a different Eagles team than we did 2 years ago. And we saw what they did last year, dude. They slid off so hard, and I don't understand the resurgence they had. I mean, you do when you see Saquon Barkley's numbers, but they shouldn't have had as good a season as they did. But good football team. We're in the Super Bowl, right? But yeah. I mean, I feel good, dude. I don't think this team's any more deadly than they were in the years past, other than their run game, which I feel like matches up perfectly for us. I think we were like the second strongest defensive team when it comes to stopping the run. So yeah, I think we match up really well. So
Nick, what do you think this Eagles team versus the team from 2 years ago? Pretty even, better, worse?
Yeah, I would say that I would rank that other team higher. I think that their passing attack was much better. Now, they've had 2,000-yard rusher, so you can't ignore that, right?
right.
However, I will say that they faced a lot of bad rushing defenses this year. Now, 2,000 yards, still 2,000 yards.
Even in
I'm just
playoffs,
saying that,
right?
like, if you look at, like, the top to bottom, roster and performance, I just feel like their team a couple of years ago kind of had that sheen, or the Marty Schottenheimer glimmer, right? Like, we're trying to get the glimmer. I
Right.
think that team had that, and this team, like Bo said, flew under the radar. The Saquon Barkley thing was kind of like a cool story, but nobody was sitting there saying this is like the de facto team that's going to go win the Super Bowl. Right now, you don't have to be that team to go win the Super Bowl. You don't have to be that team to make the Super Bowl.
Done about
But if
us
you,
last year.
yeah, but if you look at, like, I think that the Commanders kind of rose to the level of their own incompetence, right? Where they overachieved with a rookie quarterback, had a bunch of turnovers and
Yeah, that was the story of that game.
stuff, right? And then the Rams, they played the Rams also, right? And in that game,
Divisional
like,
round.
yeah, in that game they really were relying on a defensive stop there to save their season. And
Right.
so I mean, if you had to say, are the Chiefs like a much better team than the Rams? You got to feel pretty good about that.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah, Scott, you mentioned like the roster. And what drives me nuts is it's like, we saw the difference in like the roster guys with the NFL teams when we sat our guys, right? And it's like the team that's going for the three-peat loses 38-0, with the second and third stringers out there. I mean, last time I checked, the Eagles don't have 3 first ballot Hall of Famers like playing on their team right now, with one of them being a quarterback. Chiefs do. And, we were talking about this offline. Joe Tooney, in your guys' opinion, he's a Hall of Famer too, right? The guy's got 5 Super Bowl rings, right? Like, so, like, like, we've got 4 starters that are Hall of Fame caliber, like, sealed the deal, punched the ticket already, guys. Not saying, oh, well, what will happen with some of the other people on our team? I'm going to take that, right? With like the coach that people are saying is de facto, like, top 5. Maybe best coach ever. I'm going to take that over, like, depth at the linebacker position. And it's like, yeah, but their number 4 linebacker is better than yours. Like, I mean, so that kind of feeds into how I feel about the teams this year.
Yeah, look, I mean, it doesn't really matter to me if your second string tight end is better than our second string tight end. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
first string's Travis Kelce, right?
Yeah, look, I think these teams are pretty even. The Saquon Barkley factor obviously is an upgrade from I want to say it was Miles Sanders was the running back that they had a couple of years ago in the Eagles. But to me, Jalen Hurts has not been the same this year as he was in that year where we played him in Super Bowl 57. He's dealing with some concussion stuff, and he's had like a knee injury, right?
Right.
He doesn't seem as dangerous to me. So I don't know. I feel like that's almost like a wash when it comes to the Eagles. Their defense, everybody raved about how good their defense was when we played them 2 years ago. And it turned out they kind of fattened up on a weak schedule against some average to below average quarterbacks all season. That was the infamous NFC Championship game where they had Christian McCaffrey taking snaps at quarterback because all of the 49ers quarterbacks were injured in that game. I mean, I feel like the 49ers were the favored team that season until injuries caught up with them in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah.
Especially that championship game. So, look, to me, this Eagles team, they're like right there. If there's a difference between the two, I don't think it's appreciable. So, that's part of what's feeding into my confidence level. You brought up Saquon, Bo. It's definitely going to be a big challenge, and the dude had a phenomenal year. But last year, the 49ers had Christian McCaffrey, and when you look at his rushing and receiving stats and just how dangerous that guy is and what he was able to do, they're pretty similar. I mean, how confident are you in the Chiefs' ability to kind of slow down Saquon, right? I mean, you don't have to shut the guy down for 40 yards. I mean, if you can just keep the guy from blowing up a couple of really long runs. I mean,
Right.
even
Yeah.
last year we saw Christian McCaffrey had the trick double pass play for the
Yeah.
touchdown. But outside of that, the Chiefs were able to kind of bottle him up and make him, I don't want to say a non-factor, but definitely, I mean, wasn't someone that came out and killed us. How worried were you about I mean, that's obviously the strength, right, of the offense for the Eagles. I know they've got good wide receivers, and we'll kind of talk about their pass game here pretty quick after this. But, I mean, what do you think the Chiefs' chances are of slowing down and keeping Saquon kind of in check?
You know, like we've faced such good running backs before that like I don't see our defense looking across the line of scrimmage being like, oh my God, it's Saquon Barkley, right? We
Right.
faced like Derrick Henry and
Yeah. Yeah.
Aaron Jones, like we've faced elite running backs. Like Saquon Barkley is on another tier. We'll say that. But he's having himself a hell of a season. But when it comes
Right.
to big monstrous dudes, like our guys are not afraid to take on that challenge. I mentioned it last week. I think we even though we didn't do that great at stopping James Cook, I think it was a great warm-up run dealing with the quarterback running back combo, right? Because I feel like
Right.
that's kind of been one of our weaknesses all year. When there's a good running back and a decent quarterback, we kind of tend to be susceptible to the play action, and that's opened up tight ends on the other team so much this year, right? So like
Right.
that's one of my concerns here. But with that practice last week, I think we'll be fine, man. I mean, the Eagles are going to have to rely a little bit more on Saquon than the Bills are going to have to rely on Cook, right? So like
Oh, yeah.
that's going to be the focus, obviously. And you're obviously going to have to pay attention to Jalen Hurts, but I don't think this is anything we haven't run up against before, man. And I'm not trying to say Saquon's like a one man, like a one trick pony or anything, but like as long as you can prevent him from like running all over you, he's not like the greatest out of the back catcher, right? He's not like
No.
I don't know. I think it's possible. I think we can stop him. I think we could shut him down, let alone like prevent him from like two or three good breakaways, right? I think we have the defense and we have Spags, dude, the greatest DC ever, right? So
Right.
like I, I
Right.
think I think he knows exactly what they're trying to do with him, even if they're trying to like you brought that Christian McCaffrey play in the Super Bowl. Even if they try to like use him as a disguise or a decoy and do some crazy tricks, I think we're on it, man. I
Right.
think there's nothing they're gonna throw at us that we haven't seen this year. So
Right. Nick, I mean, how dangerous is Saquon? What kind of factor is he going to play? What do you think about the comparison to Christian McCaffrey? I mean, do you think Christian McCaffrey was about level with him? You think Saquon's better than Christian McCaffrey was last year?
I think as a pure runner, he's better. But you know, with McCaffrey, like you said, you have to account for both, right? So it's same level of difficulty, just a different, flavor of it. And I think that the Chiefs tackling is really good. I think that a lot of what you've seen with some of these long runs are after contact. So, as long as the Chiefs can bring him down when they get to him, I think, we'll be able to limit the damage, right? Like you're not going to like keep him from getting yards. I mean, he's in the Super Bowl. He's one of the best, or maybe the best running back, right? In the league right now. He certainly had the most yards. One of the other things, though, that people haven't talked about as much is kind of I don't know if it's the Chiefs' mystique or if it's, specifically something that they do in their game plan. But the Chiefs are really good at getting people out of their, running heavy attack and rush heavy game plan, right? Like we saw Bills fans kind of talking about that. They're like, why do we quit running the ball with Cook? It was working, right? And it's like, there's something about the way the Chiefs play and having 15 on the other side of the field, right? And like going, like if the run game gets stymied at all, then that like you can get that team out of sorts and get their play callers.
Right.
Hey, like we got to pass. And then if you can do that, then you've basically tilted their strength in your favor because now they're trying to pass the ball, right? Like we saw it with Lamar Jackson in the AFC Championship game last year. We saw it with the 49ers in the first Super Bowl where we played them, where, it's like, why were they not running the ball, right? They're passing the ball with Jimmy Garoppolo. So I think that there's something about the way that the Chiefs game plan, and then just be like the fact that you have to play Patrick Mahomes that kind of, will limit the amount of times that they even give him the ball for touches, as long as we're scoring points.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think teams also and their quarterbacks maybe fall into a like, I'm going to go out here and show that I can outduel Patrick Mahomes, right? Like we saw
Right,
that a
yeah.
little bit with Lamar Jackson in the championship game last year. I
Dude, we
I don't,
outcoach other teams to make them like give up
yeah,
their game plan, right? Like
right,
they just completely deviate from what's working. Like, oh
right,
shit, we got to do something else.
right. I think something else that plays into that factor too with the Eagles is we've seen AJ Brown more so than maybe Devontae Smith, but AJ Brown, like, he wants the ball and he's been vocal, right, when he doesn't feel like he's involved enough. And so I feel like that's an aspect to the Eagles to where you might see them get away or not try to lean on Saquon as much because AJ Brown wants the ball and they want to, you know, keep him happy out there. He's a hell of a player, man. AJ Brown
Wow.
is. He's
Oh
a
yeah.
really good.
I'll never
Phenomenal.
forget
wide.
that Titans game.
Yeah, no, I mean he's a really good wide receiver, but I don't know. I feel like with a bunch of mouths to feed, maybe you don't see them just sit there and run Saquon over and over and over and over. And you know, we've talked about this too, where people have talked about, oh, the way you beat the Chiefs is you run the ball and you slow them down. Like, to me, look, you can run like, and as long as you're keeping him from getting those big runs, you get him once or twice on first and second down for no gain. Now you're in third and long, right? And so,
Right.
like, you kind of got to get away from the run game at that point too. It's going to be interesting to see. I think Steve Spagnuolo is going to cook something up. I think someone said in the comments there it was, you know, bottle up the run and make Jalen Hurts beat you throwing the ball and see if he can do it. So it's gonna be interesting. I mean, if there's anybody that can figure it out, right? It's Spags.
That's Spags. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we're talking about first ballot Hall of Famers on the roster on the team. Like Andy Reid's a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's talk about Steve Spagnuolo maybe being the best defensive coordinator and going to be a Hall of Famer. So
Right.
I feel like there's an advantage at coaching there too. And so you've kind of got that chess game, and I'm going to take Spags over Vic Fangio, who has never beaten
Right.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
That's
He's like
another
0-8, right? Isn't that his record or something
right,
like that?
right. And I don't know if you guys heard it too, but Mitch Holthus said earlier in the week that the Chiefs, like, they've only given up, and I'm, gosh darn now, the number of games or seasons is escaping me, but it's like in the last 3 or 4 years, the Chiefs have only given up 3 runs that were like 50 yards or longer. And like one of those was the weird Jerome Ford run in the game earlier this year, right?
Yeah.
It's always some obscure running back who busts a long run. But I mean, this team has not been giving up 100-yard rushers in the postseason. We've seen them shut down Derrick Henry. We've seen them shut down some of these other premier running backs in the NFL. So it's definitely doable. I mean, you'd be lying if you were saying you weren't a little concerned about Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, right. But it's not impossible.
But to me, I don't think it's like, oh, that's an insurmountable task, and he's going to be the difference in the game, and there's no way you can take him out of it. I don't know. That's, you know, we're going to find out on Sunday, but
like, yeah, going into that, just going right off that coaching thing, right? Like just being able to coach a team away from their game plan. I feel like if you're able to stop Saquon, let's say we are like, and you have two receivers and a tight end that are decent. Are you guys concerned about our DBs and our safeties and our CBs covering those guys? I mean, like, I'm confident Trent Duffy takes out one of those receivers regardless, and whoever we have in there on the other side takes out the other guy. So now I'm only concerned about tight ends being opened up. Like, how worried are you guys about the aerial attack in this game?
I mean, I'm not too worried about it. Chiefs got a pretty good secondary, especially with Jalen Watson being back now. And you got to think that guy's going to be close to 100%. I mean, he's not on the injury report. One of you guys said earlier, like, the Chiefs don't have any injuries going into the Super Bowl. That's just basically the team they started with week 1 going into the regular season, which is almost unheard of in the NFL after the 17-game season and then the postseason. These guys have had rest. I mean, I like their chances. Look, I mean, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, I mean, they might get you here and there. I don't see either of those guys coming out and having like 200 yards and 2 touchdowns or some crazy stat line like that and just burning the Chiefs over the top over and over and over and over. Well, we haven't seen teams do that. The Bills, I mean, they didn't do it, right? I think Josh Allen's a better passer and a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. Outside of the Mac Hollins touchdown right there before half, they weren't necessarily like burning the Chiefs in the air. Nico Collins, he didn't do much against Trent McDuffie in the secondary, one of the top wide receivers in the AFC and definitely a top 10 guy in the NFL. So, no, man, like I don't see it. I see them kind of like stuffing the run and putting your guys out there in the secondary.
Trying to make them pass, right?
Right, and try to make them beat you there. I mean, Nick, are you worried about the Eagles' pass attack at all?
Well, look, the last Super Bowl, they definitely had some big passes against us. I'll say really that
at a couple.
I'll say that our secondary has a lot more experience now. I think that was one of the youngest defenses, if not the youngest defense ever win a Super Bowl when that happened. Mm-hmm. So, you're talking about the guys that were rookies in that game now are multiple Super Bowl champions, right? Like Trent McDuffie, 3 years in the league. He's going to be playing in 3 Super Bowls. He's won 2 of them. And then our pass rush and our blitz schemes, right, that we've been able to come up with and draw up, have been really good. And we were able to come up with some things that, Buffalo was fooled by, and they play us once or twice every year. They're basically a division opponent now.
Right. It feels like
it. So so we played this Eagles team, not this year, but we played this iteration of the Eagles a couple of times now. So somewhat familiar, right? But I think they're going to have some things that are going to confuse or befuddle Jalen Hurts in the pocket there. That'll help them out and help that pass rush get there. But they are going up against a good offensive line. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm not really worried particularly about anything on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, we just have a solid defensive unit. There's been a lot that's been made about the Eagles having the number 1 scoring defense. Scott, like you brought up, like, well, where would the Chiefs be if they didn't have that 38-point game that didn't matter at the end of the season? They'd be,
I want to say they were number 1 or number 2 scoring defense before that last game where they gave up 38 points to the Broncos, which was obviously Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, Chris Jones, Nick Bolt, a lot of them guys, they didn't hardly play.
Yeah, Tranquil's out. Yeah, everybody's out.
Since we played the Eagles in the Super Bowl last time, there's been one team that put 30 points on the board. Right. It was Buffalo this season, right? Mm-hmm. So, I feel good about, our ability to game plan. I feel good about our experience, right? So like I said, I'm pretty confident going into this game. Maybe, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel good.
Like you just said, like there hasn't been a team that's just come out here and abused this defense and lit up the scoreboard on them in 2-3 seasons now. This is all of a sudden going to be the game that it happens when the Chiefs have had 2 weeks to prepare and have had the bye week and have had the rest. Right, the Eagles, they had to play the wild card round.
That's right. They played Green Bay, right?
They weren't the
week 5 bye.
Right, they weren't the number 1 seed in the NFC this year, so that they've played an extra playoff game that the Chiefs haven't played. So, yeah, look, I mean, I'm going to sit up there and say the Chiefs are going to hold the Eagles to 10 points in this game and keep them under 300 total yards. Probably not, but do I see the Eagles put up 500 yards and 38 or 45, 41 points in this team? No, I don't see that happening at all. I feel really good about it. Let's talk about the Chiefs for a minute. The Chiefs, I think the biggest difference between this team from a couple years ago when we played this team, which kind of all said earlier feels pretty similar to this team, right? Like our passing attack, our wide receivers it's night and day difference between
completely
Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore. And look, I know both those guys scored touchdowns in that game, and Kadarius Toney had the record punt return. But look, man, like I'll take Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy over
D-Hop
over Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney, right?
And MVS, right?
And
that was
our
for
sure.
Like our lineup last year.
Yeah, we still got Juju,
right? And the Chiefs were able to put up 38 points on the Eagles. Bo, I mean, how do you feel about the offense? I mean, this is a much better offense than the Eagles faced 2 years ago, right?
Completely. And you see that in the statistics this year, right? Like, I feel like last year, all we talked about was the number of receivers that Patrick Mahomes was throwing it to. It was like 10 or 11
Yeah.
different receivers a game, even 2 years ago, right? This year, it's been 5, 6 guys. Sometimes he lets that go to 8 if we're struggling a little bit, but that was at the beginning of the season. Now it's like 5 core guys that he not only does he just have that relationship with, the timing's there, the confidence is there, and you just see him release. Like you just see the confidence in the team when they're like when Patrick Mahomes is throwing it, right? My only concern with our own aerial attack is just our offensive line. Like, can you protect Patrick Mahomes long enough to get whatever number one look he's looking for is open, right? And we've been doing that great for the past 3-4 games, right? It's still just it's in the back of my mind though, just that to have a Super Bowl where we got demolished because of our O line. I'm just like, oh man, I hope it holds up. We've been looking really good. But as far as our wide receiving core, man, I even like the depth we have. If any one of those guys goes out, we have 2 or 3 guys to step right up that I'm just completely confident in as well. Whether it's Hardman, Remigio, you name it. Like we got guys. Jay Watt, Gray. Like we just have like a really talented roster this year, and that's why I'm feeling a little bit more confident. Yeah, I like this receiving core a lot better than 2 years ago, and we should see some things out of it compared to 2 years ago.
Right. Nick, I mean, how much of an upgrade is the Chiefs offense over 2 years ago?
Yes, statistics wise, it's not, right? That was the Patrick Mahomes MVP, set the all-time record for amount of yards. But I think this version of the teams, like they score points when they have to, right? And when they need to, they figure it out. Like you said, the gap between the talent that we have on the receiving, wide receiver wise is definitely better now than what we were dealing with then. Oh, and we still have Travis Kelce, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, I think that's a pretty big difference between 2 years ago, right? With the passing offense.
Yeah.
And like you said, that was Patrick Mahomes' MVP year, and you set these records for yards. I mean, you had Travis Kelce out there basically still in his prime. I'm not saying that
for sure
he's washed or he's a scrub or anything now, that he's a non-factor. But you had a 2 years younger Juju on that team too, had almost 1,000 yards.
He's picking his spots more, right?
Right.
And then also, we talked about Saquon Barkley, but Kareem Hunt is an upgrade, right? At that running back position. Right. Now we don't have Jerick McKinnon, but I would say that P. Ryan has been maybe not as explosive, but definitely as clutch, right?
That's productive on that.
Like he's like third down, give me the ball, right? AFC Championship. I'm not going to drop the ball, right? I'm going to get to the sticks. I'm going to go down in bounds. And Kareem Hunt just brings like a physicality and I think a vision to the field here that we didn't quite have last time. I'm a big Pacheco fan. I like Isaiah Pacheco, but like
Pacheco was a rookie.
He was a rookie.
A lot of dimensions to his running game, though.
Right. Yeah. And like that touchdown that Kareem Hunt scored against the Bills, like I don't think Isaiah Pacheco scores a touchdown on that play. I think that was like a vision play, right? And so I just feel like we're a more balanced team than we were back then. And I think that, like there's a lot more experience. Like, I mean, think about this, guys. Like Patrick Mahomes is playing in his 5th Super Bowl now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like there's no nerves. There's
that's not even close. The experience.
Yeah, I mean
that's 100% in the Chiefs' favor.
So I think that overall we've got more talent, even if the numbers don't reflect that.
Right. Looks like we got Tony here in the chat. Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming by CKL. He likes D-Hop and Hunt in this game. Yeah, look, those are 2 guys. I feel like D-Hop, I don't know what. I kind of thought you were going to see more of him when the postseason came around, and you just haven't. Chiefs
He's been really quiet. Yeah.
Chiefs didn't really pass the ball a whole lot in that Houston game. I think they kind of wanted to stay away from the Houston's, like their clear best unit is their secondary. The game against the Bills, you didn't really see D-Hop. I thought maybe he was going to show up. I don't know if there was some, I don't know, probably more in speculation. Like I think D-Hop was dealing with an injury with Tennessee this year. I think maybe that has something to do with teams that were going on and trading for other wide receivers. But D-Hop's had time to get rest and get healthy and get healed up. So, yeah, I mean, look, if the guy can come out and get you 5 or 6 catches for 50, 60, 70 yards and pick up a couple key first downs, I mean, that's all you need out of him.
Right.
Yeah, Nick, you mentioned Kareem Hunt. Like, is there going to be a more motivated player on the field than Kareem Hunt? This dude, I mean, he's like we talked about the redemption arc, right, and his story and coming back. And I don't know if you guys watched the franchise, the championship episode, but he was on the sideline and he was like, I want this to the crowd. Like, dude, you can see it in that dude's face, man. Like, he is on a mission. That guy, he's going to be running angry. He's going to be running hard. He's going to be rested up, right? I'm looking for Kareem Hunt to have a big game. I mean, can you guys think of – I mean, I know the Eagles, there's lots of guys on the team that lost the Super Bowl, right? So maybe that's motivation. But, I mean, Kareem Hunt's got to be – I mean, there's not going to be more motivated than Kareem Hunt, is there, Bo?
No, yeah, and there's like a bunch of guys, not only him on that team, that are looking for that Super Bowl win, right? Like they came here, like D-Hop's one of those guys you just mentioned.
Hollywood Brown.
But like, dude, I just love this guy. Like the professionalism he's shown since his incident, right? It's just been top notch. Yeah. We talked about, like you said, we talked about his redemption story and everything. For him to like just go in, be a number 2 in another team, wait a couple of years, come back and get your shot. Yeah, I think we're gonna see a really heavily motivated Kareem Hunt. I can't get over it. So in MMA, they call it the 3-piece combo. And I feel like that's what our running back core is, right? We got the 1-2 hit with Hunt and Pacheco. Then you throw P. Ryan in there, it just opens up the playbook so much. I think all 3 of those guys are going to have themselves a game. But going back to D-Hop, I called him like 2 weeks ago thinking that he was going to explode. And Patrick Mahomes tended to find Hollywood Brown a little bit more than D-Hop. Yeah. I kind of feel like that role might reverse. I'm still waiting for him to have his game. I'm such a fan of the dude. I hope he gets his ring. That's a redemption story I'm looking forward to. But yeah, Kareem Hunt, man, I'm so excited for him. I kind of think he'll do better than Saquon. Would be my prediction right there. I've been wrong a lot this year,
man.
But hey, let's go with that one.
Bo's going bold here. Bo's going bold. I like it. Nick, Kareem Hunt. I mean, what kind of a game do you expect out of him, and just how motivated and hungry is that dude at this point to be back on the team in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, you're going to get everything the guy's got, right? He's been leaving it out on the field all season. And I think like the term I would use here is I think this is going to be his swan song, right? And I think that aside from running, I think you're going to see with the Eagles defense and pass rush, like we haven't utilized him to receive out of the backfield like a ton this year. And that's like one of his premier skills. And I think that you're going to see that in this game. And I think you're going to see him pop a couple of really good gains off of some passes out of the backfield.
Yeah. Just Kareem, who starts, Kareem Hunt or Isaiah Pacheco, Nick?
It's going to be Pacheco.
Yeah, it'll be 10. It'll be Poppy.
Now, I will say that when they announced the starting offense, I think at the AFC Championship game, they announced both of them, right? But Pacheco was the first back out there. So, yeah. So, I mean, I think that I think that they're loyal to their guys. I know that it can be frustrating as a fan, but like you can't argue with the results. We're going for our 3rd straight Super Bowl. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that like, it's like, hey, like you're not going to get the ball maybe later in the game, but you're still going to get the first carry, right? Like, I think that everybody understands their role and stuff, but yeah, I think Pacheco will be the first guy to get a handoff.
1st and 10, right up the middle, baby.
First and 10.
My favorite play.
Scotty special there.
I dream of the run up the middle on 1st down. Yeah, it's
agree, Kevin. Yeah, checkdowns to Hunt in the red zone.
Right,
going to be a touchdown.
It's wild that role's kind of been reserved for P. Ryan all year, right? Like I agree with you, Nick. I think we'll see it out of Hunt, even Poppy, but like it's weird that they've only done that to P. Ryan, throwing him out of the back there.
Hunt's had a couple of them that were pretty good plays, but they've underutilized it. And I think that some of the stuff they're maybe with D-Hop too, where they're just kind of saving a few plays back, right? Like
that's my intuition. That's what I think.
They got a D-Hop play. You know what I mean? Like, they got a D-Hop play. They probably have like a Kareem play. that they're like, oh, we gotta save this one. So
especially D-Hop down there in the red zone at the goal line, right inside the 5 or something like that, inside that 10-yard line. I think that's a place where D-Hop can shine, and they can draw up a play for him, right?
Yeah.
Travis Kelce, we just talked about him a second ago. I mean, you talk about legacy games, and I don't expect him to retire, win or lose. Hasn't sounded like he's thinking about retiring. It sounds like he wants to keep playing. This game for that guy, I mean, he's within striking distance of some records. Nick, Travis Kelce, what do you think we see out of him, and how much of a game plan and how much production do you see from number 87?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say swan song because, like you said, he said that he was going to, in 3 years,
he wants to.
He's hoping to still be playing for the Chiefs. So, like, I think we're still going to see 87 out on the field next year. But yeah, look, he's been kind of saving, maybe picking his spots, right? Saving it for when it matters. Like, and there's no more games, right? And so I think you're going to see, vintage Travis Kelce out there finding the soft spots in the zone. Maybe not busting the huge plays, right, that he did 10 years ago, but you're going to see productivity, right? I'm going to say he's going to have more than 6 catches in this game.
Nice.
Bo, Travis Kelce turn back the clock for this game, you think?
I mean, goddamn, I would hope so, right? But like, I don't feel like I'll be upset either way if he has. I mean, I wouldn't be upset if he has a hell of a game, right? If he has 6 catches, couple tugs or something, right? Like, I'd be fine. But even if he doesn't, I'm going to be okay with it because we talked about it. We've seen it plenty of time this year. He's such a decoy and such a distraction for the defense that if you don't get to utilize him the way we have in years past, that's fine, right? So he's just opening up room for other guys. And we see that he doesn't care about that, right? He's not this like glory hog that's like, I didn't get 5 catches, I'm going to throw a fit on the sideline kind of thing. He's just passionate. He wants to score. He wants his team to win. The only time we see him get passionate about not getting the ball is like when you're like, hey, man, give me the ball. I could have scored that right there versus a little handoff, first hit up the middle. But no, man, like Kelce, to me, I want him to have a big game, but I really feel like the Eagles are prepared for that. You saw what happens when you don't mark them, right? I know the Eagles are really good on watching tape, especially in the playoffs. There's no way you leave him open and let him have a Travis Kelce game, right? Because that just destroys teams. That wins games for us when they leave Travis Kelce open. So I can see like a little bit of a mix, right? Like where like they double team him, get other guys open, and then they try to run man and leave him open, and that's where you'll see him destroy. I'm with you, Nick. I think like right around 6 catches, but like I don't know if he's going to have like an all-time great game. He's 2 touchdowns away from tying Jerry Rice, and like I think 200 yards away from tying Jerry Rice. So I mean, there is that in the back of his mind, but I know he's the type of competitor. He's like, next year if I need to, right? Like I agree with you guys. I don't think he's quitting this year by any means. If he doesn't get it done this game, he knows he has a whole nother year, and I don't think that's the most important thing to him. I think it's just winning this one game, and he'll do whatever it takes, whether it's blocking for Patrick Mahomes to run in, whether it's blocking for P. Ryan on the outside, whether it's just being a distraction, taking 2 or 3 defenders and not getting the ball. He's okay with it, and I'm looking forward to just seeing him be that overall player.
Yeah, I mean, I think you see Travis Kelce score a touchdown in this game. I don't know that he gets like 100 yards and 10 catches or anything like that, but yeah, I definitely see him in that 6-7 catch range for 60, 70, maybe 80 yards. I think he definitely scores a touchdown. It's a legacy game for that man. He's shown that he can still do it, and I think the Eagles, now that the Chiefs offense is at full strength, and we've got Hollywood Brown back out there, Xavier Worthy has really been coming on. I don't think you're gonna be able to see them sit there and just lock down Travis Kelce, right? Like, Travis is not gonna be the guy that beats us. They're gonna send somebody else beat us. So I think he draws a little bit less attention from the defense, and I think he uses that to his advantage. So Patrick Mahomes, I mean, to me, this is like over my dead body game for that man.
Right.
Look, dude,
dude's ready for it.
Listen, he was talking about the threepeat. We've talked about it on this show. I mean, before he was even holding the trophy last year, he was talking about this game. He's passed Joe Montana in playoff postseason total wins now. He has a chance to tie him for Super Bowl wins with 4 rings.
It's insane.
The three-peat. I think he knows in the back of his mind. He doesn't talk about it, but I think he knows if he wants to be the greatest, right, with the Super Bowl loss to Tom Brady and the playoff loss to him, and just the sheer number of Super Bowl appearances and wins that Tom Brady has is going to be hard to top. I think he knows like this three-peat's going to be a feather in his cap when it comes down to the greatest of all time talk when he hangs up the cleats. I don't see any way this dude doesn't come out and just have a massive game.
Right.
Nick,
did you guys see all the Trey Wingo stats about like overtime or fourth quarter drives being down and stuff? And Tom Brady and like Peyton Manning are like in the 50% range of comeback on fourth quarter drives. Patrick Mahomes 7 for 7, right? Just perfect.
Yeah, no, he's clutch, man. So that man, I just expect him to do everything it takes. We've seen it doing with his legs now. The postseason, the Super Bowl is here, right? I mean, not going to hold anything back. I just really don't see any way that guy doesn't find a way to win this game. Nick, Patrick Mahomes, I mean, how much is on the line for him, and just how good do you expect him to be?
Yeah, I mean, I think you covered it. He knows that this is legacy, right? It's hard to say that you'd get another chance at this, right? Like, we thought we may not get another chance at a repeat after the Tampa Bay game, and they've gone and done that, and even gone beyond now, and they're in uncharted territory here. I feel like I think you said this a few weeks ago. It was before the Bills game, I think, Scott, and you were like, I just don't think that like Patrick's going to allow them to lose, right?
No.
And it's like he's gonna figure it out. He's gonna find the plays. He's locked in. And I just, that's the way I feel about it. Like he's, you can call him quarterback Jesus. You can call him, Neo from the Matrix, right? Like the God Emperor of Kansas City, like whatever you want to call him. Like that guy is going to figure it out. And one of the other stats from Trey Wingo that I saw was just his performance against number 1 pass defenses.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, and
ridiculous,
insane stats, right? So, I just like he's gonna be locked in, and he's gonna perform, and he's just not gonna let the team lose.
Yeah. One of his most admirable traits for me is going back to even our first Super Bowl win. If you listen to all the mic'd ups, is just his ability to not get like down, and his ability to rile up his teammates, and that's. We've seen it in every iteration possible, whether you're down 24 points, you're up 5, right? Like he just has that professional mentality. And we've seen him take control over games on one leg, right? This is a 100% healthy Patrick Mahomes with a 100% healthy receiving core and O-line. And I don't want to get too confident, but I feel like we used the term scorched earth a couple of weeks ago. And I'm really hoping that's the case here, man. I really feel like we could see a Chiefs offense we haven't seen all year. It's no holds barred. Oh, do I say it? If anybody in the chat comments burger, I'll buy you a burger if we score 50 points. I'll say it. I don't want to be that confident, man, but like we're no holds barred. We're not holding anything back. There's no more time to like hold anything close to the chest. Mahomes, we saw design runs last week. We're probably going to see him again this week. We're probably going to see some like iterations of that where it looks like a bootleg, and then all of a sudden he just launches one for 30 yards over the top of the D. I see him having like almost a career game as far as Super Bowl games, and that's fucking awesome to say because like he's been in so many now. But I could see him having a career Super Bowl game this game.
Yeah, there's a lot on the line for Patrick Mahomes. Now I'm kind of thinking about all that. I just said, is there a guy more motivated than Kareem Hunt? It might be Patrick Mahomes, which is bad news for the Eagles. So, what's the key then? Like, is it the offense for the Chiefs moving the ball, scoring points? Is it going to be the defense slowing down Saquon or slowing down the passing game, or is it the offensive line protecting for? What's the key to this game for the Chiefs, Nick? What's the most important thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be, does the offensive line hold up against the pass rush, and if they start to falter, can the Chiefs adjust? So I think that's really what it's going to be all about. We've got the talent at wide receiver. We've got the talent at quarterback. Where we've seen maybe the offense struggle this year, it was all about Patrick Mahomes not having time and not being able to get comfortable, right?
Right.
And so I think that, you've really seen that solidify at the end of the season and then the postseason, and it's just made a world of difference in his game.
Right. Yeah, the quick passing game is something they've used to help kind of like negate the pass rush. Famously, 2 years ago, the Eagles, I want to say they had the record at the time for most sacks in the season, or they were right up in there, and the Chiefs didn't get up a single sack, and they put it on a shirt, and then the offensive lineman had shirts at the Super Bowl parade. Zero sacks given up.
Right.
Bo, what's the key to the Chiefs, man, winning this game?
There's a couple for me. Sacks, I'm okay with giving up a couple sacks. That's fine. I said it last week, and I was completely wrong, and I've never been more happy to be wrong in my life. It's like, just don't lose the turnover battle. Excuse me, 2 weeks ago. Just don't lose the turnover battle, right?
Yeah.
We lost the turnover battle, and we somehow won. And when you look at the stats on that, like, that's a rarity, right? I still feel like that's going to need to hold up. Like, we can't really turn over the ball, especially like, oh, dude, on a drive where you could go up 11, 12 points and have it switch the other way and lose.
Up until that point, every team that had won the turnover battle won in the playoffs.
Right. So it's that to me is like a big one always. Saquon Barkley stopping him, right? That's going to be a huge thing on defense. I mean, that's like the number one given. I don't need to get into that. I think everybody knows that. But for me, defensively, I want to see them really pressure Jalen Hurts right from the get-go. What I've noticed when he gets pressured, you make him force plays. He's not that quarterback that's like do or die situation can force it, right? He gets panicked. He second guesses himself.
Fumbles the ball for 6 points.
Just drops the ball, gives it to Nick Bolton. Like, here you go, Merry Christmas, right? So if we can do that from the get go, I think that's going to go a long way. And then offensively, I think if we could just maintain drives, not do any 3 and outs, like I feel like that's just been a killer for us when we just do a 3 and out after going like 10 minutes on one drive. So yeah, just maintain drives, don't give up the ball, and let's get some heavy pressure. I think that's going to be a lot of the keys for this game and winning. So, what about you?
I feel like it's going to come down to the Chiefs' ability to start hot, get a lead, don't fall behind, and let the Eagles start dictating with the run game. Right. It's going to be on the offense to me to go out there and set the tone and set the pace and get a lead. And I feel like they've got the guys that can do it. I feel like Kareem Hunt. I feel like with Hollywood Brown and these guys being back to full strength on the offense, the quick passing game, Travis Kelce. I think that's going to be. I think it's race car talking about Chris Jones. Disrupting. I mean, to me, that's number 2 is going to be. The defense's ability to get into the backfield, disrupt plays, right? The defensive line, because that Eagles offensive line is really, really, really good. So can they get in there and can they hit Saquon in the backfield, right? Stop him before he gets going. And we've talked about doing that like with Derrick Henry in the past, right? And pressure Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, to me, he's not 100%, I don't think. And he's not as elusive, and he doesn't, I don't think, pose that running threat that he has in the past, especially not 2 years ago when he had a really good game against the Chiefs 2 years ago. I mean, outside of that fumble that got returned for the touchdown, he made some really good plays and made some big throws and was able to run and pick up first down. So I think the Chiefs had 1 sack in that game. I mean, for me, 1A is the offense playing well, getting a lead, scoring points, constantly putting the pressure on the Eagles to keep up. And number 2 is going to be the defensive line of the Chiefs, disrupt the backfield, get in there, pressure Jalen Hurts, hit Saquon, don't let him get going, because once he gets going, like, he's gone, right? I mean, that's
right. If you can prevent him, he seems to have like a slow game, but once he gets that first 1 or 2, he seems to catch fire,
right? I don't know. Who you guys want to pick? Who's your player to watch this game? Who has the game? I mean, I think everybody's going to want to say Patrick Mahomes, but
All right.
Uh,
I'll go with defensive player. I'll make it easy. I'll give you guys the low hanging fruit. I'm gonna go defensive. I'm gonna go George Karlaftis, man.
yeah,
Their O
that's a
line a
good
little
pick.
banged up. Their center's dealing with a back injury. Their guard's dealing with a knee injury. And I know you've had 2 weeks to rest. It is what it is, man. But like those are when you're going up against Chris Jones and Mike Pennell and Turk Wharton and George
Right.
Karlaftis, man,
Right.
like a knee and a back could seize up or just go out like that. So
And maybe
I'm
a
really
Justin Reed or a Trent McDuffie, like on the
off a
corner or
blitz.
safety
Yeah,
blitzes.
yeah,
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 for sure.
yeah. But I'm thinking that interior line's gonna have themselves a day, man. Like really exposed, kind of a hurt, banged up O line. So look for George Karlaftis to have himself another day. COO of Sac Nation, right?
Hey man, I like that pick. George Karlaftis had a huge game against Houston. He had 3 sacks? I want to say 2 of them in the fourth quarter.
Right.
In the championship game, he was the guy that kind of got through and put the pressure on Josh Allen on the 4th and 5 incompletion. He's been playing good. Looks like I got Jeremy showing up in here. Welcome to CKL. Thanks for coming by.
Hey-o.
Nick, who's your player to watch?
Morton, I think is who Jeremy's saying. My player to watch.
Dark.
I'm gonna say Kareem Hunt. I think Kareem Hunt's gonna have a big game. I think you're gonna see you're gonna see him make, I don't think he's gonna have 200 yards or anything, but I think you're gonna walk away and you're gonna say, man, Kareem Hunt made some big plays in that game that got us across the finish line.
Yeah,
What about you, Scotty? Who are you looking for?
Well, I mean, I think Patrick Mahomes is gonna have a career-defining game, and he's going to be the MVP. I mean, I see him. I see that dude combined rushing and passing.
How brave of
having
you!
Like 350 yards. But I'm looking at Hollywood Brown in this game, man.
Ooh, I like that pick.
I feel like he came here for this game, and I know he's been healthy and he's played right. He came back after the injury, but. You saw it early in that Bills game last week on the quick hitters and
very effective
and getting the pass. And I think he's gonna stretch the defense, man. I feel like Hollywood Brown came here for this game, and he's gonna be rested. He's gonna be as healthy as he's been all year, and I really like him to come out and get himself like 8, 9, 10, 11 catches for 100-something yards. And I think Hollywood Brown finds pay dirt. So. Other than Patrick Mahomes dominating and winning Super Bowl MVP again, which I fully expect to happen, that's my other guy, man. I'm Hollywood Brown, man. He show up in the Super Bowl, right?
Oh yeah, I'm with Kevin on this comment though too, man.
Noah Gray.
I really dig Noah Gray and how great of a season he's had this year.
Right.
He's been flying kind of like under the radar too, right? Like everybody knows about him, but they're not like, oh, number 1 threat here. Watch out. We got 5 other guys people are worrying about.
Yeah, no, Noah Gray, he's had a hell of a season, breakout career year for that guy. We saw it a couple years ago, right? I mean, against the Eagles, it was kind of like the unsung guy came out. Kadarius Toney, I just talked about how much of an upgrade we are over Kadarius Toney, but I mean, he had the touchdown catch and he had the big punt return. So, yeah, no,
I also think Remigio is going to score a touchdown on a kick return in this game. He's been close.
We're getting crazy now up in here.
That's a bold prediction.
Come on, I'm willing it into existence.
Nick's turn to have a hot take, right?
Yeah, no, Nick and hot takes are welcome, man. He's been close to he's been close in every game in the postseason, right? To busting one.
I say that because
close.
I've heard Bill Belichick talk about Remigio about 4 times since that game against the Bills on Pat McAfee, and he's like, "So you don't have to be, you don't have to be like a big name to make a big play." And I feel like he's been close. He's been close, man. So
just hang on to the ball, man. That's the only thing that worries me.
Jeremy's with me.
After 60 yards, just hold on.
Hold the ball, but all right, maybe just a big return. I'll walk it back. No.
You
can't do that now. You already said it. It's on the internet forever.
It's on the internet. It's forever. Yeah, exactly.
Don't let me talk you out of your
touchdown or bust for Remigio.
You guys think Nico Remigio gets worked into the receiving core a little bit? Do you see him like making a couple catches this game or anything? We see Andy Reid do that for Super Bowls. He brings some players in. They make some plays that you normally wouldn't expect.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the Eagles have learn how to defend the motion with the receivers, where they pretend
Corn
like
dog.
they're going to go in motion. Corn dog, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see. There was what was the other play? Was that corn dog was basically the same play, right? Twice in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. They did it on the left side with Sky Moore, and then they did it on the right side with Kadarius Toney. Look, the Chiefs are
49ers.
Look, man, nothing's off the table here as far as predictions go, and I don't think anything's a hot take because this is a game where the Chiefs are going to empty the clip, right? They ain't going to save no bullets for the offseason.
Do we see a behind the back pass in the Super Bowl, gentlemen?
No, I don't think you see a behind the back pass.
I am not team behind the back pass.
I mean, hey,
I will go for it because that means that we're probably up by a lot of points late in the game.
Right. Yeah.
Or do you think we see the lateral pass? That one's been featured, I think, like 5 or 6 times this season, where you hit Kelsey on a little out route.
Oh yeah,
on the seams, right? And then P. Ryan's right there. You've seen him fake it a couple times. You've seen him do it a couple times. Think we see that in the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know.
We're gonna see something. I know we're gonna see some kind of crazy.
Like I know Andy Reid tells these guys to be themselves, right? And tells them let your personality show. I gotta feel like Andy Reid's going to Travis Kelsey is like, listen, man, don't even think about laddering the ball. This fucking game, like,
just don't do it.
It's so risky, man. It's so risky. And we saw it with, who did he do it with? Was it the last time he did it? And like the guy almost dropped it, kind of like bobbled it. Who was that?
Yeah.
Checo? No.
No, it was P. Ryan again. He caught it off the floor. I'm just trying to think of which game it was. It's been P. Ryan every time.
Yeah. No, I don't know, man.
The Bengals? No, that was way too early.
Yeah, the P. Ryan, the one that was basically a fumble, was kind of interesting because if he had caught it cleanly, it wouldn't have been a first down. But based on how everything went, it like hit the turf, he got the first. So
yeah, no, that's gonna be, but it's gonna take a lot of guts from Travis Kelsey to pull the old lateral in the Super Bowl. Look, I'll say this. It's going to be by design. I don't think he's going to do it off script. I mean, if they've got a lateral play and they get in a position or they get in a spot where they think that it's a good place, they can do it. Jeremy's saying Pittsburgh. That sounds right to me.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
The Steelers game.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Christmas Day game. That sounds good. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess I think we broke this sucker down. I mean, you want to do score predictions or?
Ooh, yeah, let's do it.
Let's go first.
Anybody in the chat, feel free to throw down your score
make sure if you're in the chat, you've got, I mean, we don't have very many rules, but this is the Super Bowl preview show, man, going for the 3B. You've got to put your final score prediction in the chat if you're watching live right now.
I said last week we'll do some giveaways. So if you guys do get the score right, we're going to include some Chiefs swag for you. I got some autographed memorabilia we'll throw in there. I have an autographed
we got confetti
ticket that I have no idea who it's from. It's a mystery box ticket. I haven't even opened it up. So I'll just give that away. I don't even know who it is. So commemorative ticket to whoever gets the right score in this game. Let's see those scores in the chat.
Right. Who wants to go first? Nick, Bo? I mean, I can go first.
Yeah, I can go. Damn, Jeremy just basically I'll go 33-17.
Love it.
I'll make this because of the 3.
32.
I was going to say 30 or 31-17.
Price is
Look,
right.
I just feel like
this team is points. Jeremy's feeling
this
good.
Team is due for
scorched earth, baby.
Like an easy Super Bowl win. Like I don't know. They haven't been that team, I guess, but it sure feels like the stars are aligning for them to have a big game. I know they're motivated for 1,000 different reasons. So I think the Chiefs are going to win big in this game. I don't know. Not your bad, Jeremy. It's a good score, man. Great minds think alike.
Yeah, no. Hell yeah.
Big Doug. 38-30. Let's go.
It was what, 38-35, right? Was the score?
Yeah.
What was that Super Bowl?
I was at the Super Bowl. I was stressing that entire time. I'm going to go a little bit closer of a game. I don't know. They've been close games all year. I would love to see him go scorched earth. I would love to see that gap happen. I'd love to see a 50-burger drop. But I think it's going to be a little bit closer than we all want it to be, as it always is.
Tough against that Eagles
so
defense.
I'm going to say 31-27. 31-27. Let's go, boys.
Kevin, 31-28. Butker with another game winner with no time. I guess it wasn't a walk-off kick, right? It was, there was like basically no time left, and Jalen Hurts had one of the weakest Hail Mary throws I've ever seen. So, well,
grass is slippery, Scott.
Yeah. I like the 33 thing too, man. I just feel like for the three-peat, Chris Jones was talking about when the Bills got the ball last time. It was like 3:33 on the clock. He was like, "We're gonna get the stop. Look, it's meant to be." It's 3:33 on the clock. All threes. Going for the three-peat in New Orleans. I'm going 33-24. 9-point win. 2 scores, but barely.
So many threes, dude.
Barely.
If there's a 3 on the clock in the fourth quarter, I feel like we're gonna win.
Why not just go 33-3, Scott?
I don't.
33-13, 23.
That's gonna be a tall order holding the Eagles' offense to 3 points. But look, how long has it been since there's been a Super Bowl blowout? Right.
The
don't bring
Broncos
that up.
and Eagles,
right?
No,
we don't know. We're not even talking about that game.
No, Nick. Broncos, Eagles before that. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know if I even count that game. That was
like our O-line got obliterated before that game.
We had no offensive line like in that game. And they had 3 touchdowns dropped by the Chiefs in that fucking game.
2 of which hit the receivers in the hands or the face mask.
Had a touchdown fucking bounce off his face mask, and then
Seahawks Broncos.
That Seahawks Broncos fucking Super Bowl was so much fun. Like,
going into work in Denver the day after that Super Bowl was the best. Yeah.
Having just graduated from Colorado State and having all my friends Broncos fans, just that dude, the way that Super Bowl started with a safety, was just like, this is so great,
dude. I was at this like killer, one of the best Super Bowl parties I've ever been to. It was so much fun, and like won some money on some squares, on some Super Bowl squares, and just Broncos and Peyton Manning just completely got dirt kicked in their face by the Seahawks, and man, that was so.
Where are you guys watching the Super Bowl? Are you having a party, Scott? Nick, who's having the party? Whose house?
No, I don't know what we're gonna end up doing.
You just watched it at our house.
Got some people that are out of town and not traveling in town for the game, so probably won't be having an epic Super Bowl party, but we're gonna watch it. And
there you go.
It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be fun. Like I don't. Super Bowl parties are good, and I really wish they would do something about. Super Bowl Sunday, you can't really like jack with that, but like make the next day a holiday. Look, like we got the president right now signing all these executive orders, right? Can you just like executive order holiday?
Super Bowl Monday is now
fucking Monday after the Super Bowl holiday. While you're at it, and get some schools and get some work off, man. Like
however you feel about the current administration, if they did that, I feel like all NFL fans would appreciate that move.
Too much winning.
Right? Yeah. No. Exactly. So.
I got a couple of questions here.
Race car's got 33. She's picking 33. Man, like it's gonna be. I don't know, man. It's just
Saturday might be a good move, but
I don't know.
All right, so
it's already the most missed day in work in the United States anyway. Just call in, bro. Everybody knows what's going on.
Do we shock them and start DJ at? I think he means left tackle here.
No, I don't think right now is where you start tinkering, right? It's been working. Joe Tooney has played really well at left tackle. I feel like maybe to try to neutralize like the interior of that Eagles defensive line, maybe you try it, but I don't know, man. I'm just throwing a guy out there in the Super Bowl for his first real meaningful snap left tackle. Just I don't know.
Unless like it's risky. Like broken down and things aren't working, you got to gamble, throw him in there, but. It's been working so far.
Right. I think maybe if you are seeing the Caliendo, struggle, you got to think Creed Humphrey and Joe Tooney can help that out. Kareem Hunt is a really, really good blocker. You got Samaje Perine. Maybe keep an extra tackle or an extra tight end in there, maybe get Noah Gray in there to chip or something on passing downs. But no, I mean, I think you see the Chiefs stick with what's working. I mean, either of you guys disagree with that?
No, not at all. I think, like I said, unless just all falls apart and we're in complete desperation mode, I don't see them making too many major changes that we hadn't seen since last week. So,
Right. Nick, I mean, you see Joe Tooney out there at tackle, right?
I mean, if we didn't make the change against the Texans, I don't think we're going to make it against the Eagles, right?
Right. Or the Bills, for that matter.
Yeah. I'm just saying the Texans pass rush is.
Oh, yeah.
Now, granted, I guess the other point there is, like you said, that the strength of the Eagles' defensive line is more like in their interior rush. But I don't think they're gonna. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
yeah, exactly.
Right.
What was the other? You said there was a couple questions.
I looked, and Big Doug had asked about motivation of players, but we kind of covered that. So,
right. And we didn't get to the poll question this week.
Oh, dude, I've been moving. I didn't even see your poll. I've not been online. What was the poll?
We'll spring it on Bo here. It'll be a surprise. Pop quiz.
I'll pick first.
Pop quiz on Bo here.
Gotta get there.
Who do we think is a tougher opponent? The Bills or the Eagles? I saw some people kind of talking about that this week. I mean, did the Chiefs already win the harder game? I know a lot of people have talked about like, oh, this is the Super Bowl, right? In the AFC Championship game. Now a lot of those people that said that are now picking the Eagles to beat the Chiefs because they got pissed off because they got CDS and Chiefs fatigue and they need some Krylenol. But
by the way, CDS, I had not heard that before 2 weeks ago when you first mentioned it. And then these past week and a half on Twitter, I've seen so many people mention it. So I just want to say thanks, Scott, for introducing that to the universe. Appreciate it.
Hey,
right. He put it out there.
You bet. Go check out our X account. Maybe I need to repost that post about early signs that you may be suffering from CDS. Be interested to see in the chat. Looks like Jeremy's saying Bills, Big Doug Bills, Jeremy Bills.
All right, let me answer this right off the bat because I'm seeing it for the first time. I'm just gonna go with instinct here. I would say that the Bills are the tougher opponent, but I'm gonna throw in the caveat like the venue has a lot to do with that in the sense that this is a Super Bowl game, right? And so there's so many external factors, whether it's nerves, just
home field advantage.
Right, yeah, neutral field. Whether or not we get the sod father in there to help us out is to be determined, right?
With his fire hose. It's a turf field, so I don't think there's going to be any watering, any Watergate or anything like that. But
they'll come up with something.
This shit was so funny, dude. There was people that were really out there saying that the sod father overwatered the field on purpose to help the Chiefs win.
Did you see him put together the compilation of just Eagles players slipping? Like there weren't Chiefs players slipping? Like, oh my God, that's shit.
That was why we didn't get any sacks.
Yeah, exactly.
The damn sod father was out there and overwatered the field.
Exactly. Going back to this question though, I think that like having that mentality, like, oh, we already faced the tougher opponent is kind of detrimental. I don't think that's what we're going into this game thinking, but I just don't think you can look at the game as like a tougher opponent or not. I think this is going to be the toughest game we've had all year in the sense that there's more on the line for this game than any other game versus the past two in the playoffs, meaning you go home if you lose. If you win this one, right, that's what it's been all about. It's what we paid all the players for. So, I mean, like, yeah, Buffalo was maybe a more skilled team, but like the toughness of the opponent, I kind of feels like on the venue and you throw Super Bowl and championship in there, and I feel like it kind of equals out really evenly.
Right. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the Bills, like in their offense, and they scored a lot of points. Josh Allen to me is better quarterback than Jalen Hurts.
Right.
But I mean, look, I don't think the Bills have a running back that's on Saquon's level. James Cook is a good running back. He scored I want to say like 16 touchdowns this year.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
I don't know that they have any threat at wide receiver that gets posed like AJ Brown. So I think they're closer than people think. But yeah, I mean, I think the Bills are probably a slightly better team. tougher matchup.
Nick?
Like
Yeah,
you said, like, you got to play them on a neutral field, and it's in the Super Bowl. So, Nick,
yeah. I
you
mean,
voted Bills.
I voted Bills, right? And I think it's, because of how they match up against us and all the things that I said. Now,
Yeah.
That said, like the Eagles, this is their second Super Bowl in 3 years. So, and they are in the weaker conference. I think that probably the Bills could have made at least a Super Bowl if they were in the NFC.
Easily,
but they're not
That's the
going
rule
to
change. The Bills are going to try and get.
Yeah.
With
They're
the
like, hey, remember how like
ball spotting technology, and we want to move to the NFC. So,
and we're now an NFC team.
So, but that said, I do feel like overall, I mean, this Josh Allen is, nobody's talking about Jalen Hurts being the MVP this year, Now they were talking about Saquon Barkley potentially being the MVP.
Right.
But I feel like, I just feel like the Bills just match up against us particularly well, right? So,
and there's that idea of like playing a team more than one time in a season. You get to know them, get a feel for them, right? And Bills have done that, so I'd agree with you there.
Kevin thinks they're pretty even. Maybe a little better on one side of the ball than the other, and a little bit worse on the other side of the ball. Yeah, I mean that's a good point.
Who do we think has a better defense, the Bills or the Eagles?
I think the Eagles have a better defense.
Yeah, it's monumentally better, right?
Right.
Are you guys basing that just on scoring takeaways?
Yeah, and that's a good point too, because like the Eagles, I mean, their division, right? So the Commanders, I know, made the championship game, but like you look at the 2 games against the Giants, and then the Cowboys
were a 6 seed.
Yeah, right. I mean, so
and the Cowboys were the Cowboys.
Yeah, so I mean,
Giants are
there could be some.
Giants are just
I get your point there, Bo. Right? Like you can look at stats, but you also got to look at the games and who they played. So.
They haven't played a quarterback as good as Patrick Mahomes. I know that.
Right, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Who do you think's the better defense, Scott?
I think the Eagles are the better defense than the Bills.
Just based on their turnover points, or what? Why?
I don't know. I mean, I think their players are better. I think they had a better year. There's a lot of weeks where the Bills' defense was getting smoked by the Lions and the Rams and these other teams, right? So, but that said, I mean, everybody's got a good defense till they play Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and their defense doesn't look as good. So, I mean, I'm not trying to say like there's some sort of juggernaut defense. But yeah, I think their defense is better. But I think Josh Allen, when you factor him in at the quarterback position, I think they're slightly better than the Eagles on offense. So. They're pretty close. I mean, I would probably pick the Bills in that matchup, but I'd give them a slight edge. I don't think it's like clear as day that they are like the far superior team to the Eagles.
Sure.
And when you're grinding out, 200 plus rushing yards a game, it can make it pretty easy on your defense. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's it. No, yeah, they play complementary football. They definitely do. I mean, run the ball and play defense. Old school Marty ball, actually, kind of really, if you think about it. Like that's
right.
I don't think they're gonna be able to do that against the Chiefs on Sunday, though. There's just so much stuff. Like the Chiefs won their first championship in New Orleans. Like they're going for the three-peat. I don't know, man. It's just like they're getting to play the team that they played when they won the first Super Bowl to start the quest for the three-peat here. I don't know, man. I just
so prop bet time. Who scores the first point in the Super Bowl? Who scores the first points?
First points in the Super Bowl. I'm gonna go Kareem Hunt.
All right. For a rushing touchdown there, passing touchdown?
Right.
What do you got? Nick, what about you? Who scores the first points in the Super Bowl?
Xavier Worthy.
Xavier Worthy.
Going Xavier Worthy. All right.
End around. I like that.
Bo,
we talked about him a little bit. I kind of like he was off my radar until we started talking about him today. Noah Gray, man. Sneaky surprise in the back. Noah Gray.
Jeremy saying Justin Reeves, a pick 6.
Dude, Is it a cop
I'll
out say
take that.
Bucker? Is it a cop out say Bucker that like it's kind of like a shootout and we kind of have some field goals going on in the Super Bowl?
I
and
guess to
Bucker's
me,
the
it
first one
really
to score?
depends on how you think the coin toss is going to go. Like, who's going to win the coin toss, right?
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Whoever wins the
Because there's
coin
that.
toss is going to defer, and then I could see maybe the other team like having their first 15 or whatever scripted plays and getting into the field goal range or something. But
Their kicker's been terrible this year, has he not? Has he been like
he's up and down.
80%?
He was,
Right?
I mean, he was
I think he-
blasting long field goals in the snow against the Rams.
Yeah, but he missed 3 kicks in the championship game, didn't he?
And he's
3
missed
extra
like
points or 2
Yeah,
extra
four or
no.
points and a
5
field
point
goal
after
or something.
touchdowns.
He's a liability for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't talk about that, but that's definitely an edge, like special teams and field goals and kicking.
Dude, especially after last year's Super Bowl, right? Where we had like the longest field goals in Super Bowl history
Yeah.
back to back, one by
Right.
the 49ers and then one by us, right? Like,
Right.
yeah, that's
Yeah, Butker was
part.
like, "Oh, hell no, this ain't fucking guy gonna have no record." over me in the
53
Super
yards.
Bowl."
Hold my beer.
Hold my beer. Here's
Hold this for a
57.
second.
Yeah, no, definitely. What other prop bets you got, Bo?
Shit, I looked at him earlier. That was like the one I just kind of thought I'd bring
I
up.
saw
Let's see.
one Jalen Hurts to score an octopus, which is, if you don't know what an octopus is, that's where you like score the touchdown and then you score the 2-point conversion
Right,
to
right.
get all 8 points.
Mm.
I don't see that
Him-
happening.
He did
You
it in
know
the
what,
last
there's-
Super Bowl against us, right?
Yeah, right. That's a touchdown and a tush push for a 2-point conversion. I could see that happening real quick on that
I
type
hate
team.
that play so bad.
Dude, me too. Especially after that Redskins or excuse me, Commanders game, where the refs like, oh, we've warned the defense if they try to jump off sides one more
Oh,
time,
yeah.
we're gonna award the points.
You
to
should
the
get points.
Eagles.
You should get points taken away for running that bullshit play all the time at the goal line. Like, it's fucking so. There's
It
just
was 7th and goal, and they're running like their 6th tush
right.
push, and you're like,
And I mean, I
really?
understand. Like, and here's the deal: is like I get Jason Kelsey was like, oh, it takes skill, and there's skill to it. It's a bullshit play, man. It's like just get guys behind the guy and push him into the end zone. I don't know, man.
What's wild about that
everybody
play?
gets on Patrick Mahomes for taking advantage of rules, but that's like the ultimate take advantage of the rules play, right?
Oh yeah,
Right. Yeah, because
Totally.
the defense
the
isn't
defensive
allowed
line
to do the
can't push
exact
their
opposite.
players, but you can
Exactly.
push the offensive
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Like that's,
Now I'm not going to sit here and be like the Bills fans and the Bengals fans and all these other Houston fans and say, "Well, we need to change the rules because that's not fair play." And like,
we
I'm not
just
gonna
need
do
we just
that,
need to do
but,
it. We just need to learn to do it.
That's not what I'm saying at all. I was actually really impressed with our defense's ability to stop Buffalo's tush push. I
Yeah.
mean, there's more like
they're
QB
not as good
sneaks,
as
but,
the Eagles are. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you.
yeah, but there's something there to like show that you have that ability to stop
Yeah.
that play, right? And that was actually surprising me that Buffalo ran that play so many times with how much success they were having with Cook. Like, why are you doing that play?
I mean, that's
over
been
and
their
over
bread and
again?
butter for the last couple of years, though. At the goal line is Josh Allen and these 1-yard quarterback sneak touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's the first quarterback in NFL history with 40 total touchdowns 3 straight years. Well, yeah, but it's fucking like 20 of them were QB
1-yard
sneaks
tush
at the
pushes.
1-yard line, at the half-yard
Right.
line.
Right.
Or
then how many times is it like that exact game where it's just like, oh, the defense jumps, so now it's another half the distance, right? And you're just like, it's not even a half yard; it's 2 inches at that point.
Right. I don't know. You got any other prop bets there or no?
Do we see the tush push in the Super Bowl?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I mean, if they get
I mean, it's more like an over/under on how many times they run it. Right?
yeah, dude, if they get in,
All right, say 3 over under on 3.
I mean, anytime they're in third or fourth or second and 1, right, or 2, they're going to go for it.
I honestly haven't paid enough attention this year to the tush push. Is it as successful as it was in previous years with Jason Kelsey on the team?
I don't know that.
They were talking about like 92%ers. And I know that was kind of like a made up stat, but it seemed real. And then like our ability, like I said last week, we stopped Buffalo on their tush push 3 times, right? Do you think we have that ability to stop them on their tush push, or you think it's just a whole different play altogether?
That's
whole
a different
animal?
play with the way they do it and how much. I mean, I guess Josh Allen. I guess they had guys lined up behind him trying to push him in there, but I feel like that's like when they see him not getting it, they start to do it. When the Eagles do it, that's the whole play.
Right.
It's like snap the ball to him with 2 or 3 guys in the backfield behind him and instantly run up and start pushing him. So I kept seeing people say, "Oh, the Chiefs stopped the Bills, the tush push," and I'm like, that's not really the same play. Like,
No, that was more closer to a traditional QB sneak than a tush push.
Right.
Right. But
But there is something that I feel like the Chiefs defense noticed something in like either the QB sneak or tush push, whatever,
Yeah.
like the hybrid that the Bills were running. They noticed that Josh Allen's always going up the same side. Jalen Hurts
Right to
seems
the
to
left.
always go up the same side too. Do you think it's like going over the top or knowing which side he's going is like the more
Jalen Hurts kind of
beneficial
like goes
play?
straight forward behind the center, doesn't he?
He tends to go a little left, right? There's always the gap. You don't want to go right
Yeah.
behind your guy because there's that chance they just
He
stop.
goes
So you
he
want to
goes
go
up
in
and he
between
goes
them.
up and left, and Hurts is
Right.
down, right? He's
Yeah.
so
So you think there's something that like maybe we see something like we stopped it a couple times? I know it's a different whole animal with Philly, but you guys think what do you think our chances are on stopping that play in particular?
if it's 1 yard or less than like less than 10%, I would guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's not a skill issue with the defense. It's just like I said, it's just like a imbalance
bullshit.
in the rules.
That's a bullshit play. That's all there is to it. I don't care.
Do you think we should start running it so that
I think we
fan
should win the
base
Super
starts
Bowl on it.
complaining about it so much we can get the
That's what
rule
I think we
changed?
should do. I think we should tush push Patrick Mahomes win the Super Bowl.
Right
Then
into
that
the
rule's
end zone.
gone. Then it's out. No more tush pushing.
Yeah.
Right? As soon as we win
It's
the
the
Super Bowl,
only
that
way,
play.
right?
Yeah.
All right.
Anything
Over under
new?
on 3. Over under on 3. Rule changes for next year based on the Chiefs' performances this year.
No.
Right? No more
That's
sliding.
the over.
No more
Flopping.
sliding. No
Right.
more flopping out of bounds, right?
We're gonna
Spotting
use
the ball.
Here's the thing I don't understand about spotting the ball. Like, if you put a chip in the ball, like, it's not like a baseball or something. Like, it's oblong. Like, you put the chip in the middle, but what if the nose of the ball like got to? I don't understand the way that's gonna work. Maybe I don't know the technology. Like,
We mentioned it before. There's 10 sensors on the ball. They're each on each side, not on the nose, but like on each side. Like you imagine if you grabbed a football
yeah,
like this, that essentially where every finger point is, that's where the sensor's going to be, and they're little RFID chips. It's accurate, but dude, like when they make little 3D renderings off of it, you see it in soccer all the time. Sorry, Nick, for mentioning soccer on this podcast. I know it's
VAR.
blasphemous, but VAR is the thing. They implemented it in soccer,
Yeah,
dude.
sure.
When you see the 3D renderings of like that kind of technology, it's almost just as bullshit as when like a ref comes in and like takes a half step either direction to mark the ball. You're like, who made this graphic? It's just his
Right.
elbow crossing that line, kind of shit, right? And you'll run into the same problems regardless. So
Yeah.
it's just.
I mean, is there
hilarious
gonna
that
be
they're
like a
trying to
little
implement
light that goes off or something? I don't know, man.
like in hockey, right? Like you did it,
Yeah, I don't
crossed,
know.
right? Like yeah, it's weird.
Right, it is. But
Yeah, I mean, look, I've talked about it before. I'm all about technology helping where it can. But at the end of the day, like the Chiefs, like they're just better, right? And so it doesn't matter what they do. People like are still going to be deranged by their success,
Right.
and they're still going to like when you know the end result, right? And then you go back, like you're going to be able to look at any game and say, oh, well, here's where it happened, right? Like you could do that if the Chiefs had lost, you could go back and say, well, you know, the Bills jumped off sides and then they called a false start on Kansas City, right? Like,
right, yeah.
like so it doesn't matter what they change because they're not using logic to begin with. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
The shit that pisses me off, and I don't really care. Like, I think it's funny that they cry about it and they think that it's rigged for the Chiefs. But to me, is all these people that sit there and bitch about that play, like, they don't say anything about the false start that didn't get called on the touchdown pass right before the half.
I was gonna say, like, on
or the
30
face
of the plays in that
or the
game?
face mask on Xavier Worthy that didn't get called, that would have not only put us into field goal range but gave us a first down instead of being third and whatever it was. Like,
and not to mention that one play, there's like 13 minutes left in the fourth quarter, regardless of what happens on that, right? Like, there's still so much football to be left to be played.
Okay, I get it. Like, you want to bitch, and it seems like teams get the calls, but like every team, I mean, you could argue the reason the Bills were even in that game was because of the refs. Like, and you're going to bitch about one spot when, what is that? I mean, let's just say bare minimum, Chiefs, let's say they get a field goal if they get the face mask on Xavier Worthy, and then the Bills, they don't get the touchdown, right? Because that was right at the end of the half and time was running out. So let's say they don't get any points there. There's 10 points. Then there was a false start. I want to say it was on like second or third and goal, like the 1 yard line that they didn't call, and they ended up getting it on the next play from the 1, which if you're at the 6, that's a lot different than the 1, right? So let's just say 4 points there. I mean, we're just talking about what? A 13 or 14 point swing minimum?
You're talking about like
in
3
favor of
minutes
the
of
Bills.
a,
Give
of
me a
one quarter
fucking
too.
break, man.
Yeah,
Like
you're talking about 3 minutes of one quarter too. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm with
Yeah,
you. I'm with you on that.
I mean, it's crazy, and I don't really care that much when we put out on the Chiefs Kingdom Live thing. Listen to all these fans crying about the refs. Like, we don't care. All right, you can cry all you want.
This chat over here, Jeremy,
Right.
throw it up here. He's exactly right, dude. Like
Yeah.
we don't play perfect football, but we force teams
Right.
to
Oh,
play
yeah.
perfect
No.
football. And if they don't play perfect football,
Right.
we make them. Oh
Right.
man,
And if
we punish them for it.
And if you follow Scott Kazmar or that Josh DeBow on X on social media, they've completely debunked this theory that like their Chiefs get help from the refs. If anything, the Chiefs have overcome more disadvantage in penalty yards and touchdowns taken away than any other team.
Like the highest penalty yards,
which makes
situations
which actually
like third and fourth down.
They're inadvertently like shining light on the fact of like how much more impressive the Chiefs dynasty is.
Right.
It's in spite of like getting the short end of the stick and getting more penalty yards and more touchdowns taken away. So just keep crying more and worry about the refs instead of getting better, and you're going to keep losing to the Chiefs.
And they keep comparing like this to the Patriots run, obviously, right? Where the Patriots had, the refs were in their pocket and Brady made all the rule changes. And of course, Brady's going to do all this and stuff, right? And it's just, we're right there too. It's great.
Yeah, Laney loves being the villain. Patrick Mahomes, I think, takes some secret pleasure in it as well. And hey, look, man, like it's just
earned it.
We talk about this team every year. Like when you've accomplished almost everything there is to accomplish, like it's really hard to like feel like you to find like extra motivation.
Yeah.
But I feel like with being underdogs last year and then all the bullshit about the refs, Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes like talked about it in Super Bowl media week on Monday, and then the clown guy that asked him about who's your favorite ref after all these people. Yeah, like, dude, this shit pisses him off. And so it's just more motivation for a team that really like doesn't need any more motivation, but motivation's in short supply when you are basically going to the Super Bowl every year and just have like accomplished almost everything there is to accomplish. So Queen hater.
I'm going to address this, Doug. I think Laney's 100% right. I also personally love them being the villains. I think Patrick Mahomes loves being the villains. Dude, the first 3 years, what did we hear was Jackson Mahomes the villain. Then it's Brittany Mahomes is the villain. And then it's Taylor Swift is the villain to the NFL. Like, no, I'm the motherfucking villain. I'm beating all your teams. I'm the reason why you guys are so mad, right? I guarantee you he has a little bit of that, like that love for it.
The Grim Reaper, man. I mean, I'm also the type of person that roots for the bad guy to get away in the movie, right? Like to not get caught. Like, so,
you liked Avengers, or was it Endgame or Infinity War? Where Thanos
at the end of Silence of the Lambs, Scott's like, "All right, Hannibal Lecter got away."
Where he's on the phone, he's like, "I'm meeting an old friend for dinner." And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I root for the bad guy and the villain to get away in the movies too." So,
what was in the box, Scott?
Right.
What was in the box?
I don't know.
His wife's head.
Man, what a great movie. God damn, that's a sick movie. Anyway.
This is so good. So dark.
We digress. I think it's about time to get up out of here. My phone is on like 8% battery here. So
4 days, 4 quarters, gentlemen.
4 days, 4 quarters, man. They're just one game away from football immortality and cementing themselves as the greatest dynasty in NFL history, undisputed.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be no argument. I
think it was Carol in the chat. She mentioned, who the hell is Pat Riley, and why can't we have three-peat memorabilia when we win this on Sunday?
He's a basketball coach that trademarked the term three-peat like a total scuzzbag. And
smart man.
Made a lot of money.
Smart man.
And he says, well, I'll give most of the money to charity. Well, I don't care. Like, some people don't want to donate money to charity.
Well, it's come out with shirts that say that's hot because Paris Hilton lost her.
Right. Well, dude, here's the thing:
it's 3 championships.
It's not like Pat Riley came up with the term three-peat, right? I mean, somebody else came up with it,
publicized it, right?
Before, and he's the one that trademarked it. So yeah, total loser move on that guy's part. But hey,
who's going to coin the phrase back to back like that? That hasn't been Trademarked. Yep. Let's do it.
All right.
CKL.
Maybe we
right
should
there.
Maybe we should trademark "Cry About the Refs." Maybe that's a trademark we should put.
Chiefs
in there.
get all the calls. That's what we
Seems-
should trademark right there,
seems
dude. The
pretty
internet would owe
lucrative,
us
so.
so much money.
Yep. We're gonna be back next Wednesday at 8:00, and I've got a really, really good feeling we're gonna be talking about the Chiefs celebrating a three-peat, man, and doing what's never been done in NFL history. So really appreciate everybody watching. Really appreciate everybody. If you put a question or had a comment in the chat, we love y'all.
Thank you everybody for joining.
Just doing this show and interacting with you all, and this, it's just made being a fan of this team and this dynasty, living through it, just that much more fun and that
Dude,
much
our
more
chat's
enjoyable.
the coolest part of this whole thing,
Right.
dude. I love the community that's in there. The
Yeah,
shit
no, it's
talking
awesome.
that goes on. I
Right.
love it. You
So
guys are
much
awesome.
fun.
Thank you
Right,
guys.
It is awesome. So make sure you're back here next Wednesday at 8:00. Chiefs taking on the Eagles for the second time in Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. Three-peat is on the line. Until next Wednesday, let's go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs!